All right. Ooh. Got lots of stuff to cord up this morning. Gotta melt off the ends of all this paracord. Actually, I gotta snip the ends, melt them off. Give people time to join. See who's even awake at this ungodly hour. Sometimes I think I should do my finishing work later in the day on Sunday, but if I did that, I wouldn't have time to do anything else. Can't change the schedule just for YouTube. What's up, everybody? Just melting off the tips of all this paracord so I can start cording up these yawara. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the hearts. Appreciate it. Just melting off the tips of this paracord so I can cord up this yawara this morning. I was running a little behind getting to the shop this morning, so I had to jump right on. That's way too frayed. There we go. Ohayou gozaimasu, Chakabe! Alright. Now I need to snip that off. Good morning, everybody. What's everybody up to this morning? Why is everybody awake this early on a Sunday, huh? Sorry, I know this isn't super exciting. I'm almost done. I only got like 4 more of these cords I gotta seal off the ends on and then I can get started. Because if I don't do this, that center cord in this paracord gets all unruly and sometimes it slips out of the sleeve, which is never good. Never good. But if you got questions this morning, feel free to drop those in the chat, or if you just want to let me know what you're up to, give me a shout out from where you're from, all that jazz. All right, 2 more. Almost done, folks. Then we can get started. Making a mess over here. Does Sharingan work on vampires? That's a great question. I don't know. Have vampires ever shown up in the Naruto universe? I don't know that they have. But I would assume so. I don't know. I think the question would be, how well would it work against a vampire? I don't know. I would assume it would work to some degree. I don't know. Since vampires can glam people in most lore, I would think that they would probably be able to detect something like the Sharingan. I would think. But that's purely a hypothesis. I have no evidence to back that up at all. Oh my gosh, I got so much stuff. So I got a bunch of yawara to do first, and then I've got some custom orders I gotta wipe down. I got a vampire bat we gotta cord wrap or tape wrap the handle on. I've got another vampire slayer dagger I've got to cord wrap the handle on. I've got a set of Nightwing sticks over here. I may or may not cord up today. We'll see how much time I have when all this is done. But first, I got these. These are white ash pocket yawara. I made a vampire slayer wooden sword last week. And I had a long, kind of narrow cutoff from that. So I cut it up into 6-inch lengths and turned them into yawara. Or palm sticks, depending on, some people call them kubotans, but that's not really correct because the kubotan's its own specific thing. But these are used in karate and some other martial arts as well. It's an extension of your fist, allows you to do some band damage. And if you don't know what band damage is, you probably don't have back pain. What's everybody up to this morning? What's got everybody up so early on a Sunday? Or late. I find that most people that show up for this live have they're either up early or they've been up all night, it seems like. There we go. 3 down, 3 to go on these white ash yawara, and then I've got a couple of purple heart ones and or not purple heart, yellow heart, different heart. Got a couple of yellow heart ones and a couple of orange osage yawara. Then I've got a long reach white ash one. I gotta cord up. The white ash long reach yawara, unfortunately the bottom portion of it had a flaw in the wood after I didn't notice until after I drilled the holes, and I had to cut off part of it, so it's a little short on the handle end, which means it's probably going to get auctioned off. That's this one. Normally you want about 1.5 inches on the back so that you have more of a protrusion on the back here, so you can use that as another striking point. It still sticks out from the palm, just not really as much as I would like. So I'll probably auction this one off. I don't like to sell stuff that's not up to specs for full price, so it'll go on auction and they'll have a very cheap buy it now price if people don't want to wait for the auction. So The only difference with my shop is I do charge shipping on the auctions because I at least have to pay for the shipping. So. All right, come on, you get in there. Oh, give me a break. See, this is why I melt off the tips, because I didn't melt that one off nice enough, and now it's all wonky. We're gonna try that again, as Jack Burton would say. And if you know who Jack Burton is and why he would say that, you probably also have back pain like me. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Finishing Work at Warrior Wood and Props. What's everybody up to this morning? Just cording up some yawara. Got a bunch of these white ash pocket yawara. These make great Christmas gifts. By the way, they fit easily into a pocket or purse. Give you a little something to make people think twice about giving you problems. They help you keep the peace. All right, put these away, and then I've got a couple of yellow heart and a couple of orange Osage ones to do. I said yellow heart, right? Did I say purple heart again? I feel like maybe it might have said purple heart again. I meant yellow heart. I get them confused for some reason, even though they're not even close to the same color. This is yellow heart. It's a really cool wood. It's insect resistant, decay resistant, and it has a cool kind of yellow tinge to it, which is why obviously they call it yellow heart. But yeah, I make these pocket yawara out of all kinds of wood. I make them out of oak. I make them out of purple heart, yellow heart, black walnut. My black walnut ones are up on the shop. Just so you know, if you want one of these in black walnut, you're gonna have to buy what I've got, one of the ones I've got in stock, because I can't work with black walnut for a while, at least for like another year, if ever again. So, but here's the yellow heart ones. But yeah, black walnut's got this stuff in it called juglone, which you can develop a sensitivity to, and I did, and it can cause respiratory issues and stuff. So you don't want to expose yourself to it once you develop a sensitivity. The sensitivity can wear off over time, so if I just wait another year, I might be able to work with it again. But we'll see. We'll see if this time next year I'm making yawara and stuff out of black walnut again, but it's not high. It's highly unlikely. Anyway, here we go. Did I make my fruit basket today? What's up, Jeffrey? I have the smoothest beanbag in town. It's not smooth. My beanbag is not smooth at all. No, someone told you wrong. But yeah, no, I haven't made any fruit baskets today. I have to start doing that. That's funny, Jeff. Oh, I guess I should go ahead and do this one. But yeah, this is the white ash long yawara. On longer yawara, I tend to use cotton instead of paracord, just because with the extra length, you tend to get a little more movement in the stick, and paracord is not exactly great when it comes to chafing. So with a smaller one, it's not as big of an issue, but with a big one where it's kind of can move back and forth on your fingers, you don't want to get rope burn on the inside of your fingers. And cotton tends to be a little gentler when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, and see now, what does that say? Still huffing that lacquer. Yes, sir. I try to wear a respirator as much as possible, though. I don't do it whenever I'm doing my staining, but I do run an air scrubber afterwards to kind of get the stuff out of the shop. As you see on this one, like I said, the bottom part is just doesn't protrude quite as far as I want it to. Normally on these, I put the hole at about 1.5 inches from the bottom. This one's really just 1 inch from the bottom. But the reason is after I drilled the holes, I found a void on this side. I had to cut like about 1/2 inch off, and it kind of messed it up. So, but still not a bad yawara. It's just a little short on that back fist side. Then it'll go up for auction later today. Somebody will be able to use it. Not bad. And these next ones, these were part of a custom order. I had a guy, he wanted a fish bopper and a yawara made out of orange osage. So I had to special order some orange osage, which took me a while because I try to use wood vendors who ethically harvest their wood, because there are a lot of wood vendors out there that sell exotic woods that are from endangered trees. You know, like, I'm not necessarily a tree hugger, but if we run out of the trees, we run out of the wood. We don't want that. So every exotic wood piece that I make, I do my best to find a vendor. I have several vendors that I use that ethically harvest their stuff. So like white ash and osage, those are both endangered right now. So I try not to get from like big lumber mills or anything. But this guy wanted orange osage and came out pretty nice, I think. And he wanted black paracord, which I think is fine. Got to get those Halloween colors in, right? So we got orange osage with black paracord. So one of these will go to the customer and one of these will go up for sale on the shop, since I made 2 of them. And once again, stupid paracord. I did not melt the tips off on some of these well enough. There we go. And that one, this is the one that'll go to the customer. They're both nice. This one's just slightly nicer. This is my first time working with orange osage, and dear God, you guys, it is a bitch to sand. Holy shit, it is a bitch to sand. It is some dense wood. There we go. And see, I leave plenty of, you may notice that there's kind of a long ends on the knots. That is so when it goes to the buyer, they can unknot these, adjust it to their hand, re-knot them, and then they can cut these off and melt the tips up on their own, so that it fits their hand. Because their hands are you know, they're subjective to the person. So I try to make these where they can be adjusted for bigger, smaller hands fairly easily. Or you can just replace the cord altogether. It's not hard to take the cord out and replace it. Whew, all right. Give me just a second, folks. I've got some custom stuff over here I gotta wipe down real quick. The customer that ordered that orange osage also ordered an orange osage fish bopper. Fish bopper. That's not easy to say this morning for some reason. And a yellow heart Tenarashi Tessen war fan. So I gave those their second coats of tung oil this morning. Now they just need to get buffed out a bit. Make sure there's no bubbles in the tung oil. And yeah, looks good to go. And then This is the war fan. They wanted their war fan to be 1 inch at the bottom and 1.5 inch at the top in width. The other ones that I've made are 1 inch at the bottom and 2 inches at the top. I just think that the more extreme flare looks a little better. But this looks cool as well. This is Yellow Heart. The Tessen or Tenarashi has kind of an interesting history to it. Samurai daimyo, the noble lords of the samurai, would carry these Tessen fans. Sometimes they were foldable, sometimes they weren't. And they would often hit things with them. Namely other people. Sometimes for defense, as a defensive thing. Sometimes, ooh, that got dust on the bottom, that's not good. Sometimes as a defensive thing, sometimes because they were pissed off at their subordinates, so they smacked their subordinates around with their fan. The problem with that is the folding fans back then, you know, those were not cheap things. They were handmade out of steel and paper. So they would make these tenarashi, which just means like a stick, like a practice stick. But they would make these out of wood or steel. Or iron, and use those instead, so that way they could smack away people at their heart's content and not ruin their fans. All right, no fuzzies on this. Oh, one fuzzy on there. Get out there. Get out there, Fuzzy. There you go. I'm going to have to wash my rags a little more. Some of them are shedding lint, which they're not supposed to be doing. The other thing we're doing is I made a prop machete out of wood this weekend. We're gonna cord wrap the handle on that. Might actually go get the other stuff. And I've got a hickory dagger here. We're gonna cord wrap the handle on that. And as always, a shop favorite, the vampire bat. I love these freaking things. Sell a lot of these around Halloween for your vampire hunter costumes. This way you can smack the vampire and you can stake the vampire. That way, you know, it's like a fish bopper, but for vampires. You knock them out first, and then you finish them off. You want to stun the vampire before you stake the vampire. So that's going to get a handle taping shortly. All right, what else am I forgetting here? Forgetting something else, I feel like. I don't know what. Screw it, we're going with it. Holy Trejo Batman? Yeah, right? Machete. But you know, like I make machete wasters in my shop already for people that do like Kali, Eskrima, Sea-Lot, stuff like that. And I had somebody ask why I don't make like props for Halloween. And I was like, I just have never thought to make them before. So I decided to make one. I think it looks all right. Not bad on camera. From a distance, it looks like a blade. It's just basic plywood that I've painted up. I'm going to cord wrap the handle on that. And I think it'll look pretty good. And if that sells, I'll make another one. That's usually how I do with new items. I wait, see if they're going to sell. If they sell, I keep making them. If they don't sell, they sit on my shop until someone buys them. It's a weird thing with stuff like mine, because I make weird stuff and I never know what's going to hit with people and what's not. Like around Halloween, I have these poplar stakes that I make that are They're fairly simple. They look good, but they're just kind of a simple design. They're not hard for me to make. I don't really sand them that much. I just kind of shape them out on the grinder, and then I sand them once and stain them. I have ones that I don't cord wrap. I have other ones that I do cord wrap. You're beautiful, aunt. What's up, Mike? How you doing, nephew? We're gonna cord wrap a handle on this bad boy. These are already up on the shop. These distressed vampire hunter daggers. They're about 11.5 to 12 inches long. The taper makes it hard to get these all exactly the same length, because sometimes you lose a little bit of length when you do that extreme of a taper. But they're all, none of them are shorter than 11.5 inches. So these are fun. These are great. I have also, by the way, there are other shops on eBay and on the internet that I've seen that have bought back in, so I used to make these just unfinished. And what I found out was that other shops were buying my unfinished daggers, staining them and distressing them, and then turning around and selling them as Vampire Hunter steak antiques, which they are not antiques. My shop's only been around for like 3 years. They're definitely not antiques. And selling them for like $80, $90. So I was like, okay, I will beat them at their own game. So now I make my own that are stained and distressed, and I sell them for about half of what they sell theirs for. So but they look really cool. They make great props for a vampire hunter costume, or if you're just really into like vampire killing. It's kind of why I make steaks, to be honest with you, in my shop. When I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with like Hammer films. If you're not familiar with the Hammer films of the 70s, they were great. Hey, what's up, Kig? They were awesome. The 70s Hammer films, you had guys like Christopher Lee, you know, old school actors that would play, sometimes play vampires, sometimes they would play vampire hunters. And I also sell a Hammer film style steak set in my shop. The reason they would call them Hammer films is a lot of times they would use these big steaks, and they would have a hammer, and they would find the vampire in his crypt, and they'd put the stake over his heart and hammer the stake into their chest. And so I have, try that way, there we go. So I have a whole bunch of different kinds of steaks. I love vampire hunter stuff, which you don't see much of those anymore. These days the vampires tend to be more like sympathetic characters in the movies. You don't see a lot of vampire hunter stuff, except for Sinners, man. Sinners was sweet, dude. I loved that movie. Absolutely loved that film. Sinners is probably about as close to a perfect movie, especially for a vampire film, that you're gonna ever see. What I love is that, like, most movies like that, where like the vampires don't even show up until like the second half of the movie, annoy the shit out of me. Sinners did not. The vampires don't show up until like the latter half of the movie, and it still works. There's nothing. It doesn't bore you to death while you wait for the vampires to show up. If anything, the way that the first half of the movie is done, it makes it where when the vampires do show up, you almost don't want them to, you know, which is, I think, a really cool bit of filmmaking there. That, you know, because you want these people to just have a peaceful night. You know, a lot of these people are just having rough times, and you want them to have one good night, and these freaking vampires show up and ruin everything. All right, there we go. So that, and this one, I don't know how well you can see it. Yeah, you see the scratches in it. It says distressed. It looks a little battle worn. And it's got the natural jute cord handle, so it looks period appropriate to like the 19th century, which is kind of what you want with vampire hunter stuff. So what's going on, people? What's everybody doing up this early or late, depending on where you're at? Man, I'm tearing through the stuff this morning. I really thought this was going to take me a lot longer. Usually I'm on here. I've still got a few things left to do, so that's good news. All right. Question is, what do you guys think? I gotta do the handle on this. I need to wrap it. I'm trying to decide if I want to do like black paracord, because I think, you know, it's just wood, so I think the paracord will give it a little more beefiness on the handle, give you a little more something to wrap your hand around. And since it's already painted black, the handle, I'm thinking the black paracord would probably work. I don't know. What do you guys think? Black paracord? Going once? Going twice? Sold. I'm doing black paracord. So yeah, let's do this handle real quick. We can go grab some black paracord. Be right back. Oh yeah, by the way, that's not a product placement for Planet Paracord, or Paracord Planet, or whatever they're called. They are not a sponsor. I wish they were. I go through a lot of paracord in this shop. It would be nice if I could get a sponsor that would send me paracord. It's not cheap. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure I have enough. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, got enough. All right, move this over here. There we go. Oh, I hate that I can't focus on things in certain situations without with my glasses on. In other cases, I can't focus on stuff with my glasses off. It's a pain in the ass. All right, I'm gonna put that on the inside, and hopefully this works, because this handle is contoured a bit. So if this doesn't work, I may have to resort to hockey tape or something. We'll see. We'll give it a shot, see what happens. If the paracord holds, there we go. This is going to be the big test. Let's see if it goes over the belly of the handle here and doesn't slip. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm loving this. Let's see. I'll do the whole handle and see what I think. I feel like the handle needs to be a little beefier than this. I feel like I thought I would put a little more mass on it. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this off. And we're going to hockey tape this handle. Then maybe we'll put paracord over it. Let's see. And if you got any questions while I'm working on this, feel free to drop those in the chat. Or if you want to give a shout out on where you're from and why you're up at this ridiculous time of the morning on a Sunday. All right, there we go. This is hockey tape. This is just what hockey players put on their hockey sticks. It's kind of like athletic tape, but a little easier to work with when it comes to handles. Wait, I need to start from the bottom. Of course you frayed already. There we go. There we go. We're going to go back up. If you got any questions, drop those in the chat while I'm doing this, and I'll gladly answer them. We're just going to beef this handle up a little bit with the hockey tape. And then after that, I'll see about giving it another go with the paracord. Just needs to be a little thicker. I want it to feel and look like an actual handle. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I want it to tuck into that groove. There we go. All right, so that makes that a little thicker. Now let's see if the paracord gives a little more meat to that handle. Where did the... I just gotta find the end of this 550 cord. There we go. Oh, now it's all kinked up. Great. There we go. Unwind. Unwind, paracord. There we go. That feels a little better there. And the hockey tape will also give the paracord something to grip onto so that it doesn't slip over these contours on this handle. It's not a lot more, but it's enough. That's enough to where it at least feels like a handle. Because I'm not trying to make this too crazy, because I don't want it to be expensive. I want people to be able to afford them. That's always kind of the weird balance I'm always trying to strike in my shop is, you know, what I can make versus what people can afford. You know, there's some stuff that I can make, but I don't make it because it's just, there's just no way for me to cost effectively make it. Like I used to make these Michelangelo Consafe chucks, which I do still make Consafe nunchucks by custom order and request, but I don't make them and just sell them in the shop because I mean, there's no way for me to sell them for like, you know, cheaper than probably about $60-$70 because they're, you know, they're handmade. They take a while. And, you know, it's a lot of PVC and epoxy and foam, and I have to hand paint them, and, you know, it just takes a while. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's better. That's something you can hang on to. Now we're gonna cut these and melt them into the handle so they don't get in the user's way. There we go. Then this one will wrap around to this side. There we go. That's it. Now we got a proper prop machete for Halloween. We'll see. Never made these before, so, or at least I've never sold them in the shop. So we'll see. I think that'll be fun for somebody. I thought about doing fake blood on it, but I feel like if people want fake blood, they could. It's not that hard to do fake blood, so, you know, we'll see. If it doesn't sell, maybe I'll modify it and add some fake blood effects to it and see if that helps. But right now, I'm just gonna stick with this old school prop machete. All right, let me go put these away. Sorry, am I flashing you guys back here? All right, here we go. Let's see. There we go. Whew. It's crazy. Like, normally I have very few people on my Saturday live stream, and I have a lot of people on my Sunday live stream. This weekend's kind of been opposite. I had a whole bunch of people yesterday on my Saturday live stream. A Sunday, not a lot. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was going to ask on this live, just because I've got people here, I was going to ask what people are doing for, like, their costumes this year for Halloween, because I'm looking for ideas for props to sell for Halloween, even though spooky season's pretty much upon us. I know it's a little late to ask, but I don't feel like people are really thinking about it until September. September seems to be when people start thinking about their Halloween costumes and stuff, so I was just kind of interested to see what people are doing for Halloween this year. I've noticed I've sold a lot of vampire steaks, and I've sold a surprising amount of vampire steaks to people doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer cosplay, which I find odd. And it's not the Joss Whedon Buffy, it's the Christy Swanson 1990s Buffy. That seems to be the costume that people are going with when they're doing Buffy stuff, which I find interesting, because back in the day, it used to be the Sarah Michelle Gellar Buffy was the one everybody was going as. And now, looks like people are going for Christy Swanson's one, which is my favorite, to be honest with you. Like, I must have watched that movie, good God, 100 times. I rented it from Blockbuster so much. And once again, if the sentence I rented it from Blockbuster has no meaning to you, then you probably do not have back pain. Why am I so old? So old. All right. Back in here. All right. Whew. Let's see. Hockey tape. Gonna go back over here. Be right back. All right, next I gotta do the vampire bat. This one's fun. I like making these just because I'm a sucker for a good pun. You know? I'm always a sucker for a good pun. I don't know, I'm a little not entirely sure that's enough athletic tape to do this handle. Question is, do I want to roll the dice on it? And the answer is yes. I'm going to roll the dice and see what happens. Oh, pro tip when you're doing a baseball bat handle wrap, you want to start with it upside down. You want to start from the knob of the handle and work your way towards the top of the bat. Reason being is if you go the other direction, the overlap goes against the swing, and so it can cause the tape to kind of fold over on itself, which is not exactly what you want. You want the person swinging it to be comfy. And I don't make these super pretty because they're not supposed to be. Oh, please make it. And after I finish the handle wrap, I go do a little distressing on this. I rub sawdust and dirt and ashes into the handle wrap and into the bat itself so that, well, I rolled the dice and I lost, people. That's all right, it happens. Well, I guess we're starting over. Go throw this away. I actually keep these little things here. They come in handy with those daggers like you saw. Sometimes I will put these over the tip of something when I'm shipping it, just so that to protect the tip. You always want to protect the tip. Just the tip. All right. Starting over. I got another roll of athletic tape here. Thank you for the hard sending likes, everybody. I appreciate it. All right, let's get this bad boy done. And there's two reasons I just do athletic tape instead of doing like a honest to God baseball bat wrap on these. Number one, it's less expensive, which means I don't have to charge as much for these. I like I said, I try to make sure stuff in my shop is affordable. The other reason is I want it to look like something somebody hastily put together in their garage. And you know, a real baseball bat wrap just doesn't quite give that look. I want it to look like someone found an old baseball bat in their garage. They sharpened the tip and put a quick athletic tape wrap on it. I think we're almost there. There we go. I think that's good. I just kind of eyeball it with these. I don't really, again, I don't want these to be too pretty, which is why I tear the tape instead of cut it. And there we go. That will, that'll do for this. And then this will get rubbed down with dirt. A mixture of dirt, sawdust, and ashes. The bat will get a little coat of it just to dirty it up a little bit. And I'll wipe it down and it'll look dirty and distressed and old. I've got one of these already up on the shop. Once that one sells, I will put the other two up. Just because Halloween is upon us. And these snake bats tend to go. Vampire bats tend to go pretty quickly over Halloween, so it's fun. The first one of those I made it kind of as a joke and didn't think I would keep making them. And that first Halloween that I was running my shop, I had this guy buy one and he was super excited about it. And I was like, why is this guy so excited? And then God bless him, he sent me a picture on Etsy. I wish I still had it. Etsy closed me down, so I don't have access to the chat anymore. But he sent me a picture of him, and he was wearing like a Yankees baseball uniform with the baseball bat with like blood spatter all over it. It was pretty cool. Like he was a vampire hunter baseball player, which I thought was kind of funny. It's crazy though. I was like, it was the perfect prop for his costume, and I didn't even know it. I was just making a joke, but after that one sold, people were still wanting them, so I kept making them. You guys are being quiet this morning. Oh, give me one sec. Oh, the last thing I've got to do this morning, and I'm not entirely sure about it, are these Nightwing sticks. I was looking at them this morning, and I mean it's not a huge flaw, but one of the nodes like peeled off a little bit, so you can see where like the paint had come off with the node. So I'm thinking maybe these need another coat of paint before I cord wrap them. What do you guys think? I don't know. I know that's a minor flaw, but I hate doing stuff like that. I hate finishing things and sending them to customers knowing there's a flaw in them. Especially with these, because I'm really proud of these Nightwing sticks. Let me take a look at the other one. Yeah, sorry folks. I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and paint those a little more. Just give them one more coat of black paint before I cord wrap those, because I really don't want to send those to a customer and have them be disappointed because there's a flaw in the product. You know, I've already got sets of them up on the shop. I'm not hurting on inventory for those, so it can wait. If somebody orders all of my Nightwing sticks, I can put a rush on them. Not a problem. Oh, man. Man, has it only been an hour? Not even an hour. Man, I'm normally still working at this point. Give me one sec, folks. Well, has anybody got any questions for me this morning or anything they want to talk about? Because that looks like that's going to be it for me this morning, which is kind of crazy. I really thought this was going to be a longer live stream. Normally it takes me like an hour and a half to 2 hours to do all this stuff. But I didn't have to cord wrap these Nightwing sticks, which I thought I was going to have to do. But I need to redo these. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. I'm going to check something real quick. Give me a second. So I actually bought a machete a while back. I had a customer who wanted a custom zombie apocalypse bat with a machete blade embedded into the bat. And it was pretty cool. And I did that for him as a custom order last Christmas. And I still have the holster for the machete that I used. And I'm wondering if this prop machete will fit in this holster. Let's find out. I don't want it to be too tight of a fit, but let's see. That might be too tight of a fit. Mental note, next time make them slightly more narrow. Well, it does fit. It's a tight fit. Yeah, that's gonna rub the paint off if you do that too many times. So mental note, next time I'm gonna put a little bit less of a belly on the machete blade, so I can sell the next one with the holster. Or the sheath, or whatever you want to call it. Scabbard, sheath, holster, whatever. Transition is a journey. Yes, Jeff, my transition has been a heck of a journey. Anyway, if anybody got any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm gonna start cleaning up here and probably call it a day. I lost my job on Tuesday. My company was having a corporate restructure, which if you've ever worked in corporate America, that's never a good thing. So my company was having a corporate restructure and my position was eliminated on Tuesday. So I am out of a day job right now. So go buy my stuff. I'm unemployed. Actually, though, I have a new temp position. The guy that runs the shop next door to mine, he does like custom furnishings and home renovations. So he needed a pair of hands. So I'm gonna go work for him. It's less money, but you know, it gets me out of the house. It gives me something to do. It gives me an income stream, and you know, gives me a chance to work with my hands instead of sitting. Normally, my day job, I'm a marketing copywriter, and so spend a lot of time sitting in front of a desk, and I kind of hate that part of my job, to be honest with you. I have rampant ADHD, if that's not obvious, and sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day is kind of horrible. Even though I love writing, the other parts I'm not a fan of. Like, I swear, if I could just have a job where they would just tell me to write things and I would write them, that would be great. Just write them, turn them in, and be done. Like, that would be awesome. But that's not really how the corporate world works. So, you know, another hard part for me is that, like, I've been looking around at other marketing copywriter jobs, and for the most part, most people are either not hiring or they're paying ridiculously low amounts. Like, I've seen jobs for people at my level for like $20 an hour, which, you know, I can go DoorDash and make that. So, you know, I don't really want to do it. The big problem is that a lot of the copywriting positions are being replaced with AI now. So what are you gonna do? You know, it's funny because I went into writing. You know, I went into tech writing and copywriting and just writing in general in my career, always thinking that would be a bot-proof job, because, you know, I always thought if the bots came to replace people, they would just replace the physical labor. But no, they're replacing the brain labor now. So we're in deep shit, people. But yeah, so AI is replacing me in my day job. So it's all good though. I'm gonna pivot, you know. I'm gonna pivot, do some other stuff, see if I like it. You know, I'm not interested in being rich. I just need to be able to pay my bills. you know, I've already given up on the dream of retirement. I'm Gen X. None of us are retiring. So yeah, it's all good. So, but Monday I start at the new shop, or tomorrow I start at the new shop. So that should be fun. Start my new job, see how that works. I think it'll be fun. At least I don't have to sit in front of a desk all day. And it's right next door to my shop, so if I need to do work, you know, I can still do work and all that stuff in the shop while I'm doing my day job. I sold a steak yesterday, so I gotta mail one of those off tomorrow. Anyway, I'm gonna take my new prop machete, go put stuff in the inventory room, and then take all the new stuff home and put it up on the shop for sale. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat, because I'm only going to be on for about another minute or two. So give me those questions and I will answer them. Then I'm out. I'm done. Tired, you guys. Tired. Being an adult is hard. It sucks. Like 0 out of 10. Do not recommend it. It's terrible. Adulthood sucks so much. But what are you gonna do? It's the only game in town, right? Oh wait, you know what, you guys? I did forget some stuff. Holy shit. I got these. Actually, these are still a little tacky. All right. Never mind. Those are still tacky. They need to dry a little bit longer. Well, people, I think that's it for me this morning. I'm going to call it a day, go home. I gotta pack up all the stuff from my old job and send it back so I get my last paycheck. And maybe watch a bad movie, play some Helldivers too. Anyway, my shop is Warrior Wood and Props. I'm on eBay. You can find the links to my shop in my bio. WarriorWoodandProps.com is there. Shopify, I don't know what their deal is. I cannot access my shop at all right now, and I cannot seem to get in touch with anybody at Shopify support. They keep sending me a support link. Every time I go to it, it's just an FAQ page, so I don't know what the hell. But if you need a custom order, you can go to WarriorWoodandProps.com and use the contact me button. I can at least use the contact me button. But other than that, if you want to just buy anything in the inventory, go to the eBay shop, Warrior Wood and Props on eBay. Like I said, links in my bio. Not hard to find. But that's it for me this morning, I think, folks. I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Sunday for Sunday finishing work. And I will be back Saturday around 12:30 p.m. on Saturday Eastern Time for Saturday staining next weekend. And if you're here next Sunday, I will see you again for Sunday finishing work. I'm out. Take care.